Cybersecurity decisions are often framed as technical or financial choices. Which platform is cheaper? Which vendor scales faster? Which solution ticks the most boxes in procurement? Sovereignty rarely shows up early in these discussions. When it does, it is often treated as a political concern, not a security one. That is a mistake. What sovereignty actually means in cybersecurity? Cybersecurity sovereignty is not about isolation or nationalism. It is about control. Who ultimately controls the systems you depend on? Who can access them? Who can change them? And under which jurisdiction those decisions are made? In security, control matters more than promises. Why cost dominates early decisions? Cost dominates because it is easy to compare. Price per user, price per gigabyte, price per month. Sovereignty is harder to quantify. It only becomes visible when something goes wrong. That delay creates a dangerous bias. Jurisdiction is part of your threat model. Every system operates under a legal framework. Data residency laws, government access provisions, national security exceptions. These are not abstract. If a provider is subject to foreign jurisdiction, that jurisdiction becomes part of your threat model, whether you like it or not. This applies even when data is encrypted, even when contracts say the right things, even when everything looks compliant. Legal authority can override technical assurances. The supply chain problem. Modern systems rely on deep supply chains. Cloud providers, software vendors, hardware manufacturers. Update mechanisms. Each layer introduces dependencies. Most organizations do not fully understand how far those dependencies reach. We regularly see environments where a sovereign system depends on components that are neither transparent nor controllable by the operator. When something breaks or access is restricted, there is no leverage, only waiting. Access without visibility. One of the most underestimated risks is invisible access. Administrative access, support access, emergency access, often legitimate, often undocumented, often poorly audited. Sovereignty is not just about where data lives. It is about who can touch the system and under what conditions. If you cannot clearly answer that question, control is already diluted. Why defense and critical infrastructure feel this first? Defense, government, and critical infrastructure experience these issues earlier than others. Not because they are special, but because their systems must operate under stress. Geopolitical tension, supply disruption, sanctions, conflicting legal demands. In these environments, dependency becomes risk very quickly. Cost savings disappear the moment control is lost. Vendor lock-in as a security issue. Vendor lock-in is usually treated as a commercial problem. In security, it is an operational risk. If you cannot migrate, if you cannot inspect, if you cannot operate independently, then security decisions are no longer yours. This matters during incidents, not during procurement. What actually works? Now let's talk about what works in practice. What works? 1. Designing for control, not convenience. Convenience optimizes for today. Control optimizes for uncertainty. Sovereign design prioritizes visibility, auditability, and operational independence. Not because everything will go wrong, but because something eventually will. What works? 2. Knowing where sovereignty actually matters. Not every system needs the same level of sovereignty. Email systems are not weapons systems. Internal tools are not national infrastructure. The key is classification. Understand which systems must remain operational and trustworthy under all conditions. Start there. What works? 3. Reducing irreversible dependencies. Some dependencies are acceptable. Irreversible ones are dangerous. If changing a provider or component is effectively impossible, that choice needs extra scrutiny. Security decisions should preserve options. What works? 4. Aligning security architecture with legal reality. Ignoring legal jurisdiction does not make it disappear. Good security architecture assumes legal pressure and designs around it. That is part of threat modeling, not politics. Closing. Cybersecurity sovereignty is not about rejecting global technology. It is about understanding where control matters more than efficiency. Cost differences are visible immediately. Loss of control appears later. By the time it does, choices are already locked in. For organizations operating in defense, government, and critical infrastructure, sovereignty is not an abstract concept. It is a security requirement. If this topic is relevant to your organization, you can follow the channel. More videos will go deeper into how to design systems that remain secure, operable, and controllable over long lifetimes.